welcome to this road trip. We are heading down to the Georgia Mustang Challenge. I can't believe it's already here. We've been driving since 4 a.m., taking turns driving. We're heading down to Kentucky tonight. We're going to do a stopover, and then we're going to drive the rest of the way tomorrow, which is going to be a little bit tight for timelines because we got to get there by 4 p.m. for the trainers meeting. So we've got American Kaibu in the back, along with
There's a mobile speed camera ahead.
That's the GPS going. And Aspen, who's Franny's Mustang, and then we've got Eleanor, who is Jackie's Mustang. So we've got 4 ponies back there, and Jackie's driving her truck and trailer with obstacles. It's been a long process coming and getting down. I'm definitely not as prepared as I normally would be. Believe it or not, having a baby has sucked up a little bit more time than I thought it would, or interrupted more training sessions than I thought it would, and just with everything kind of going on and balancing my thoroughbreds, so I'm not feeling as good as I was going into Arwen's Mustang makeover, but my horses are still doing awesome stuff. I'm proud of how far they've come along, and I just love taking part in these Mustang challenges. The people at the Mustang makeovers are so nice and fun that we're gonna have a good time regardless, but we're gonna see how it goes. So welcome on the journey, and stay tuned for more. All right, we are in the car, and there is serious business going on here. We have to figure out, are we going to Panera Bread or are we going to Chick-fil-A? We are gonna rock, paper, scissors it out. Maya is voting for Chick-fil-A, Allie's voting for Panera Bread. It is down to a tie, folks. Let's get ready. I'm gonna count you down.
Is it on shoot?
Are you ready? It's gonna be the best 2 out of 3.
Ready?
All right, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Maya's got 1. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, it comes down to the final. No! Panera Bread wins out. Oh, poor Evelyn.
One more macaroni and cheese, I'm gonna die.
All right, you want to try your luck in the ditch, buddy?
Oh my god, oh my god. And you're going fast too.
Oh my goodness. You fucking woo! Everybody, second.
Don't worry, I'm used to doing it.
Horse buggy versus truck and trailer.
Oh, he's just going straight.
Good horse. Oh, what a good pony. Look, the pony gets a break because of us.
Aww.
Yeah, good. Our ponies get to be in a trailer.
I know for this right now. This is so sketchy shit.
Oh,
it's okay. You can see this side of the road over there.
Oh,
I was about to say,
gosh. Whew.
go straight as far as you can before you make your turn.
Oh my gosh. Whew.
Everyone suck it.
This is
so scary.
Oh, there's a... So apparently we put just one number wrong in the GPS. We put 5323 instead of 5322, and now we are 20 minutes in the wrong direction, and we went through these really sketchy roads that were really kind of terrifying. Like, I don't know, Kentucky, we gotta have a little intervention about your roads. 2 lanes. 2 lanes means like 2 widths. You have horse farms here. I don't understand why some of your roads are like literally single. That was really scary going up these hills, honking as we were going to warn people. So anyways, after doing these sketchy hills and whatnot, my transmission got a little hot, so as a preventative measure, we are letting her cool down a little bit. We were about to make it before dark, which was very exciting, and now we are not entirely sure if we're making it before dark. But fun times ahead. We thought we were doing good, but this is why you leave early. Leave early and budget time. I don't know.
And type in the right number.
Stay tuned. Double check. So we finally made it to our destination in Kentucky, where we stayed overnight in this adorable little bed and breakfast, and the horses went out into a field and continued on our drive to Georgia. So this is us pulling into the farm in Georgia where the competition's held, and you can see the gorgeous facility there. I'm going to totally mispronounce the name. I think it's like Chaka Stables or something like that, and I know I'm totally butchering that, but anyways, beautiful facility. This is a look at the barns, and the parking right behind it is probably one of the best laid out facilities that I've been to in terms of just how organized it is. And one of the first things we did was give the horses some Equicel. It's really good for them with the electrolytes that they need. So that's Kaibu. He wasn't super impressed, but he was like, oh, okay, it's actually all right. So here's another little look at the facility. This was at the meeting when we kind of got all of our paperwork ready. That was Evelyn sitting on the table there. So this little pavilion area with a little bit of a restaurant overlooks the competition rings, and this kind of gives you a bit of a 360 view. Those are the barns up kind of in the background there, and then the competition ring in the middle. Little baby Evelyn sitting on the table. And just a little look at the competition getting started. Maya's sitting there with little Evelyn. And then behind you there, you can see there are the barns in the background there. Just kind of a really neat setup how they kind of put it all together. Evelyn was not a fan of all the heat. This is her getting fanned down. And then at the hotel, she actually slept in a drawer. That was her bed. It was actually kind of perfect because she was right beside where I was sleeping. And she was just tucked in there, pretty happy for the night. We weren't complaining. And then we got started with the competition in the morning for the boys. So the youth had started the day before, and then now in the morning, Kaibu's getting his bath. It's the only bad thing about having a light colored horse is you got to get them clean. And I'm just going to pull out a little bit of the competition footage for you guys here. And then I'm going to do a separate video for Kaibu and Mariki for their different show competition. So this is a look at Kaibu's handling class. This is when he derped up a little bit. So he always stands still for me picking up his feet. And I've shown you guys in different videos where he's totally good at that stuff. And he's just kind of not paying attention and nonchalant, just kind of walks forward a little bit. Because he's just kind of like, whatever. Like you can tell he's totally not scared or anything like that. He's just got his head low and he's just wandering off, not paying attention. So then I kind of back him up to be like, no, you got to stand still. And he just kind of wobbles and fights me a little bit on his foot because he's just not really thinking about being in competition mode. So just a big learning for me was having 2 horses and a baby was too much, and totally blame that error on just not having enough time to get him kind of prepared. Now Mariki, this is a little look at his competition here, doing his side pass and going to go into his haunch turn. He did really, really well on his handling class. He actually won his handling class and was super, super awesome for it. So he did a bunch of nice things. You can see a nice little pivot there. And then we're going to go forward into his walk and into his backup. So I was really impressed that this horse that I nearly pulled, I shouldn't say nearly, but it definitely crossed my mind to potentially pull him from the competition because I didn't know it would be possible to get that skittish horse ready in time for, didn't know if it would be fair for him. And then for him to pull off a first place in his handling class, I was definitely proud of that. And then here's a little look at the trail class, just the trailer loading part, because I will show you guys the full footage in a separate video. I just didn't want to make this like a 20-minute video. So just giving you a little bit of a look. I figured the trailer loading part would probably be considered maybe the hardest obstacle of the course. And my guy is super willing, just walking right in there. I was pretty proud of them for that. And here's a little look at the hotel in the morning. Little Evelyn having her little dance moves happening on. She's starting to move around a lot more and figuring out how to move all our body parts. But anyways, that's a little look inside our hotel at the Continental Breakfast. Her hanging out, playing some games, and just kind of chilling out downstairs. And it was so hot. I think it was a heat wave. So she was in dresses the whole time, dresses that I didn't think she would end up wearing, but turned out it was like really friggin' hot. I think it was like 37 if you're in Celsius. Otherwise, it was like 90s, I think, if you're going by Fahrenheit. And then here's a little look at the freestyle for the boys. This was the next day of competition. And both of my horses do 4 feet on the pedestal, no problem, all the time at home. And for whatever reason in competition, it was like, what? 4 feet on a pedestal? What does that mean? But I always find whatever your horse does at home, it tends to be worse when they're in the competition, even though I didn't think it was super nerve-wracking there. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of things going on. Remember, Mariki's only actually done 1 horse show before coming down to Georgia, so he's not kind of used to this distractions and whatnot too. But anyways, here's a little look at his freestyle stuff that we put together. And overall, he did pretty well. Like, I'm not going to complain about him. He did a lot of good things. I wanted it to be fully at liberty, but I do have a neck rope attached to him there because the ring is not fenced. In fact, you can see an opening straight ahead, center screen there. And then here's a little look at Kaibu's freestyle. So we had some different obstacles that I'd used for each of them to show their different skills. This is the carousel with Mr. Kaibu there, the carousel that I actually ended up selling while I was down in Tennessee after, or actually sold it in Kentucky after my truck had broken down. But we'll get to that part in this video a little bit later. That's a little look at the placing announcements. And then the next day, or sorry, later in that evening was the open show. And so Kaibu did the open freestyle, which was a riding class. And I was super proud. He pulled off a 6th place in the open show against a super ton of very talented riders that had been with their Mustangs a really long time. I believe he was the only tip Mustang that entered the open walk, trot, canter freestyle class. So I was pretty proud of that, and I posted that video separately already for you guys. And then the next day we did the open trail class as well. So I wanted to do that to kind of prep him for Texas, because I'm still thinking that I'm going to be taking him to Texas for the World Show for Extreme Cowboy. So there was the curtain, which is basically like a flying kite in your face at that point. And then they utilized some of the cross-country stuff here where he's going to go down a bit of a bank, a bit of a jump down, and just being actually pretty chill. I was pretty happy with how he did, because he hasn't done outdoor obstacle parks like this before. And I don't think I'd ever even taken him through water before. But it was hot. Did I mention it was really hot? This is how Evelyn was handling the heat, being right in front of the fan there and taking that in. That was her preferred posture of the day. And just because she's so darn cute, I got to share this cute little video of Maya playing with her. She gets passed around to so many different people that were babysitting her while I played with my pony stuff. So I was super appreciative of that. My boys ended up finishing 7th and 11th overall. Mariki ended up winning his handling class. They both did really, really well. Then here's a little look at Kaibu loading on the trailer to go home, heading on to our road trip that turned into the road trip from hell, which I'm going to get into right now. All right, so I'm going to tell you guys how this trip to Georgia turned into the road trip from hell, as I call it. I've got little Evelyn just sleeping with me, and I'm telling you guys this story after the fact, because probably if I filmed this while it was happening, I'd probably just be bawling my eyes out, because it was pretty stressful, and I definitely shared my fair share of tears along the way. And so basically what happened is after we left Georgia, we were coming through Tennessee, and my truck, we were driving on the interstate, and the whole truck started really vibrating, and we lost control of the truck for power steering and brakes. And basically we think what kind of saved us was the fact that the trailer is so heavy and was attached as a gooseneck and basically held the truck steady. It was really, really scary. So we took it into a shop, and they basically told us that what we experienced is what you call a death wobble, which is kind of where your truck kind of, I guess, lifts up away from the wheels, I guess, of the truck or whatever the components are. Sorry, I'm not very technical or mechanical here. And so that way you kind of lose your steering and your brakes. So anyways, we got the power steering pump replaced, and the U-joints and the brakes all replaced. But while that was happening, the rest of the people that were with me, that came down from Canada with me, they all had to get back for jobs or family or different things going on. So they all left. We didn't know how long the repairs were going to take, or kind of what was going to go on with the truck at this point in time. So they left, and I made a post on Facebook, which I kind of big shout out to everybody on Facebook that helped connect me with people, because we did Google search some farms in the area, and I did call a couple places and they didn't have room. But then when I put it out on Facebook and you guys connected me with a bunch of people, we were able to find somebody who was only about 20 minutes away or so, and she was able to come over with her truck and pick me up. And originally I was going to go to somebody else's house where they said that my horses could stay in the field 24/7 until we figured out, until the repairs were done with my truck or whatever. And so anyways, we were going to go there, but then we ended up the road, I don't know why there's all these small roads, not just in Kentucky, but in Tennessee as well. We literally could not turn onto her road. It was too narrow, too steep, ditches on either side, too sharp of an angle with my big long trailer. So we had to carefully back out of that area and ended up just going to Erin's house at the farm, the lady that rescued me. So we just ended up going back to her place, and she's an eventer, really cool facility. I originally wasn't going to head there just because it was a little bit further away from where my truck was, and I thought it'd be easier if I was closer. So anyways, I stayed there for the night, and my ponies got settled in. They were in stalls during the night, and then they went out during the day, so that was all fine. So fixed my truck, thought all was well, hitch up in the morning. So now I'm a whole day behind at this point. And I thought, okay, off I go. And I put in the address of Kentucky because I've got a friend in Kentucky, my friend Tammy. She does some work with her for Hank's Sake program. I messed that up a little bit. And so I was on my way to go see her, and literally like I drove my truck for all of like 2 minutes, and the radio clock like went on and off, which was really, really weird. So I messaged my family, and my brother-in-law is kind of mechanically inclined, so he's like, yeah, it sounds like, you know, your alternator might be going, but as long as you don't shut off the truck, you should be fine. So I'm like, okay. So I keep driving with the thought of I'll just drive to Kentucky, which is only 3 hours away at this point, to my friend's place, and we'll get there, and then I'll unhitch and I'll go get it looked at again. So, you know, I just spent $3,500 fixing it, and great, it's lasted all of like 3 minutes. So as I'm getting within the last like 20 minutes of my friend's place in Kentucky, more lights are coming on the dashboard, and the radio was kind of going on and off again, and I just thought, yeah, you know, I've had an alternator go on a vehicle before, this is probably what it is. So I pull into my friend's place, and as I'm going up the hill, the truck trans temp light comes on, but I'm like, I can't turn it off, because if I turn it off, I'm going to be stuck in the middle of her driveway, and the driveway is kind of narrow, and people aren't going to be able to get around me, and it's going to be blocked, it's going to be awkward. So I didn't turn it off. I would like just left it running while I took the boys off of the trailer, put them in the paddock, and then drove the truck down, or the trailer down to the barn area, kind of backed it up and turned it in, started to unhitch it. Literally, as the trailer comes off the ball of the truck, I see white smoke go out of the exhaust of my truck, and my truck just shuts off. And I'm like, all right, this is what I always tell people. I am the luckiest unlucky person that there is, because so unlucky that my truck is now broke down for the second time. It literally drove like 3 hours and needed to then get towed after that point. So, but very lucky that it happened after I got to my friend's place, after I had a chance to take it down her driveway and get it turned around. Because even if I had broke down in her driveway, that would not have been good at all, because her driveway, just the way it is, like if you get stuck anywhere along that point, it just wouldn't have been good. You have to get all the way down to where the barn is and get turned around, or it's just like even more bad news bears. So that was pretty stressful. So I watched my truck get loaded up onto the tow and get on its way over to the auto shop, and I find out there that it's the computer chip in the alternator that have gone in the truck. So I make the decision that it's just not really worth repairing at that point, because I asked the guy, you know, how much is this truck worth repaired, and kind of looking online and whatnot, it's probably worth, you know, repaired maybe around like $6,000, $7,000, because it is in a 2004 Dodge Ram 3500 truck. It's not new by any stretch. It doesn't have a ton of kilometers on it, but anyways, so to repair it would cost me a couple thousand, and I've already sunk 3,500 into it. So I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather just sell it for parts at this point. It's not really worth it to me to repair it, and I'm not going to trust it. Even if I do repair it, I'm not going to trust it to get me back home to Canada. It's not really worth it. So I'm now in Kentucky. At least I'm at my friend's place, which is great, because the horses were in a really big pasture with shelter and automatic water. So that was really nice that they were taken care of. And my friend Tammy is awesome. She totally took care of Evelyn and I, given us food and a nice place to stay. We could get a shower and everything. So that part was pretty good. And then I'm just kind of faced with the thoughts of like, well, what am I going to do? I've got Evelyn with me. I've got my Mustangs with me. And so even though... Yeah, I had to do this all by myself with 2 Mustangs. Hey, you're fine. I know. I'm telling a story. Hey. Sorry about that, guys. I just put Evelyn down to sleep beside me there. But, so after I kind of made the decision to just kind of leave my truck in Kentucky and sell it for parts, although it's not sold at this point. I still have to kind of get on that and figure that out. But I made a post on Facebook again, both for selling a bunch of my stuff, like some of my obstacles and stuff like that were in my trailer, as well as potentially selling my trailer or my truck or my horses. I didn't really know what to do because I had my Mustangs down with me in the States, but it was my thoroughbreds that I need in a couple weeks' time to go down to the thoroughbred makeover in Kentucky. So I was kind of looking at all options, like could I just ship my 2 thoroughbreds down, maybe sell all my obstacles, and then I would have room to tow my horses back. I know in an ideal world that I would just buy a new truck, but unfortunately that's not really an option for me right now. I still have some other debts and things that I have to pay off first before I can take on the payments of another truck. So anyways, I just posted kind of everything for sale, seeing what sort of stuff could happen. And I was really fortunate that a couple things happened. One was that some people came and bought some of my obstacles that I had with me. So I was able to sell some of those things to get a little bit of extra cash, because then I was really lucky that Ben from Montesola Farms, which is a farm in Ontario that does different things. They do like cattle sorting stuff. They do barrel racing shows. They do jumping shows. They do extreme cowboy. Like they kind of do a little bit of everything. So he was able to drive overnight to come get me and with his truck, and picked up my truck. And then I drove his truck with my trailer and him in it back to Ontario. And it was kind of interesting for me to drive. Like he had a brand new truck and it hauled my trailer like it was nothing. And you guys know I've been having issues with getting stuck at some hills, having to unload my horses. And it was a totally different feeling. Like you couldn't even tell the trailer was back there. It towed so well. So that was kind of interesting. And I was really fortunate that he was able to come and do that, and so reasonably priced as well. Made it sting a little bit less all the other, baloney that I'm having to go through. So we're heading to Ontario, and where he was located, he said it would be easier for him. I was telling him I'm supposed to go to this clinic on Friday with Josh Rushing for an extreme cowboy clinic to learn, more about the extreme cowboy skills and stuff. And I was supposed to be going with Kaibu and then 2 of my thoroughbreds. It was supposed to be another off-property experience for my thoroughbreds before they go down to Kentucky. And he said, well, that location of the clinic is actually closer to his house, and he would rather drop me there than go all the way back to my place. So he ended up dropping my trailer with Meriki and Kaibu and me with Evelyn at the clinic location. And luckily my trailer's got a little bit of a living quarters area in it. I don't have a shower or a washroom, but I have like a decent sleeping area and stuff for like cabinet stuff for all my clothes and like some space in there. So that was pretty good. So he dropped me off there. We made it to the clinic. And again, like I tell people, I am the luckiest unlucky person, because like my truck breaks down for a second time, and yet somehow I still managed to go to the clinic. And it actually worked out better only having Kaibu, because I was able to make some serious good progress with Kaibu over the weekend. Rather than if I'd had my thoroughbreds there as well, my attention would have been divided and I wouldn't have put in as good a work with them. I maybe had as much progress. But I ended up having to cancel. I had a bunch of other off-property experiences lined up
for my thoroughbreds to prep them for the makeover. I was supposed to do a bridalist demo at a fair. We're supposed to do some cow sorting stuff with Fairly. I was supposed to do one more jumping show with Bling. So all of that kind of got kiboshed, and still don't fully have the truck situation sorted out, but I did figure out getting down to Kentucky because there's a lady who had a truck but had a trailer situation fall through. So she was looking for a trailer to go down to Kentucky with for her horse, and I was looking for a truck. So I was able to help her out. She's able to help me out. So that part's all sorted out. Who knows what's going to happen with the rest of it? Some people on Facebook were suggesting doing an online auction. So I think I'm definitely going to put together something like that. So stay tuned for details on that. I'll probably be posting it on my Facebook. And if you don't follow me on Facebook, then you can follow me either on my profile or my page. They're both Lindsay Partridge. Or if you're looking for my page, then it's Lindsay PHH. And Lindsay, in case you don't know, is spelled Lindsey. I always say if you spell your name with an A, then really your name should be Lindsay, because Lindsay is spelled with an E. So Lindsey, and then PHH is where I'll be posting that on Facebook. And I'll probably post some details here to help with doing some fundraising, I guess you will say. So anyways, if you have any ideas, definitely comment. I was thinking we could do some things like some of my favorite products, like the thin line saddle pads or Mega Alpha products, or some Hispania silk, and maybe do some auctioning off of clinic days with me or something like that. But yeah, send me some comments. Let me know what you think. This definitely was a good experience. Lots of learnings came out of it. Definitely not doing 2 Mustangs and a baby again. I survived. I don't know how Mariki ended up finishing in the top 10 and winning his handling class, but I'm pretty proud of that. And then Kaibu finishing 11th overall. I was very proud of that. So close to being in the top 10 with him as well, but super proud of where he is at. And then it's the thoroughbred makeover next. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and being there. Follow me on this journey. And until next time, bye for now.